Okay, welcome everyone. I now call to order the regular meeting of the Palm Desert City Council and successor agency to the Palm Desert Redevelopment Agency, the Palm Desert Housing Authority, and the Palm Desert Board of Library Trustees for Thursday, June 25th, 2026. City Clerk, may we please have the roll call?
Councilmember Harnik.
Here.
Councilmember Moreno.
Present.
And may we ask the nature of the need to remote participate?
Yes, I'm participating remotely from my office in City Hall due to illness. There is no one present in the room with me.
Thank you. Councilmember Nastandi.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Here.
And Mayor Trubie.
Here.
All councils present.
Okay, I want to ask Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise.
I will now ask Councilmember Harnik to provide us with some words of inspiration.
Thank you, Mayor. How you do anything is how you do everything. Portrays how the whole picture of our life is composed of the sum of small moments. The way we do every little task, how we handle every minute, is how we approach our life, job, friends, and how we use our time. The great philosopher Heraclitus is quoted, "Day by day, what you do is who you become."
Excellent, thank you very much. And if we could now have a report from closed session from our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. No reportable actions were taken in closed session this afternoon.
Very good. Moving on to item 9, awards, presentations, and appointments. We will ask for our item 9A, a Palm Springs Airport Commission update, and Commissioner Kevin Wiseman to present.
Kevin's not here yet.
All right. What do you think?
He said he's parking.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, city manager comments. We'll jump leapfrog over to item 10, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll invite up Lieutenant Boris for a quick update.
Hello, everyone. We're going to wait till we get a little flyer up here. I don't want to start. Maybe it's not ready. There we go. So next, in 2 weeks, we've been invited by Assemblymember Greg Wallace to participate in a senior scam awareness seminar that's going to be here at Palm Desert Community Center. Unfortunately, these scams are still happening. Criminals are becoming increasingly sophisticated, using fear, urgency, deception to convince victims to withdraw cash, purchase gift cards, and send money order under false pretenses. While this is still concerning, there is some encouraging news. We are seeing more members of the public stepping forward and helping us identify scams before victims lose their money. Retail clerks are calling law enforcement when they notice someone is purchasing large amounts of gift cards under suspicious circumstances. They are asking questions, recognizing warning signs, and helping protect vulnerable residents. We're also seeing rideshare drivers become an unexpected but important line of defense. In many scams, criminals instruct victims to withdraw cash or package money and then use rideshare drivers to transport it. The driver often has no idea they're being used as part of a criminal scheme. However, as awareness grows, more drivers are recognizing unusual circumstances, such as elderly passengers making urgent trips to the bank or requests to transport suspicious packages. And they are contacting law enforcement when something doesn't seem right. And of course, bank employees continue to play a critical role. For years, they've been trained to identify fraud, financial exploitation. Their vigilance has prevented countless victims from losing their life savings, and we're grateful for their partnerships. The common thread is simple. Community involvement works. Law enforcement can't be everywhere, but when residents, businesses, financial institutions, and transportation providers work together, we create a stronger safety net for those who are most at risk. We encourage everyone to join us in this effort. Talk with your family members, especially seniors, also about common scams. Be willing to ask questions when something doesn't seem right. And if you suspect someone is being targeted, don't hesitate to contact law enforcement. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Porras. Well, I see that Mr. Wiseman has arrived. May jump back to number 9, and we'll have a report from the Palm Springs Airport Commissioner.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. So exciting things going on at the airports. I've been asked to keep it to about 3 minutes, so I'll paint in broad strokes and leave a little time for you guys to ask more detailed questions. The biggest major new developments at the airport in recent, since my last visit, the executive director and the director of marketing have left to greener pastures, and we have an interim executive director serving, Miss Victoria Carpenter. She's doing an excellent job. They're actively searching for a new executive director and for a new deputy director of marketing, air service, and commercial development. I'll talk more broadly about the positive developments and then go into just some information that I think the public should be aware of in the next couple of months. So broadly, the airport is growing its passenger figures still at a steady clip. They're making lots of excellent changes to the customer experience and making investments in all sorts of areas. One recent example, there was recently an unveiling of an art at Palm Springs, art at PSP. How shall we call it? Initiative. And the first launch they had was some new art in the baggage claim area. So that's just a small taste of the various items that the airport is working on to enhance our customer experience. Yeah. Sure. All right. As well, they're putting in some new EV charging stations quite soon, so you'll look forward to seeing that. This summer, something to be aware of is that they will be taking the escalators out of service for a couple of months in order to get them ready for season in October. So I think, and I have Jake here from the airport who I can check for some details. Jake, is it from September to October?
The escalators are going to be closing down in August for about 2 months. And so we hope to have this done by middle or end of September so that they're back in service ahead of season. And in the interim, we'll have staff at the bottom of the escalators to help carry luggage. Our elevators are still working as well, so people can use the stairs or take the elevator. The goal here is to close them both down, replace them. They are dated and they are outside 100% of the time. And so they were never really intended for this use, but they need desperately some work, and so we're going to close them down at the same time with the goal of minimizing disruption, getting it done as quickly as we can at the end of the summer.
It's been a long-running topic, and escalators, if you're not familiar, it is just nationwide, even international, just a nightmare across the board, getting parts for them. It's just crazy. Let's see what else we have going on. I think the one other thing just to be aware of is, you've heard a lot in the news about the master plan and the plans for expansion. And so right now, the phase that we're in is the airport is examining the financial feasibility of all these projects and how to make them happen. So that's the sort of phase when we've progressed from figuring out what we want to build to how we're going to build it. And then after that comes designing what we're building and then building what we're building. So it's going to be a long time coming. And I think, if anyone's expecting big giant buildings to be coming up overnight at the airport, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. So lastly, I think I'll throw it to you guys if you have any questions, councilors.
Any questions from my colleagues? I'd have one question.
Yeah.
Airport traffic year over year increase?
Yes, a slight increase. I think there's some year-over-year months where it's a decrease. Canadian travel is a headwind for sure. There is, the headwinds of jet fuel. So growth going into 26 and beyond is certainly not a guaranteed aspect. The way that airlines are reacting to these jet fuel prices by price increases is by cutting routes or frequencies. So that could definitely impact the sort of near-term growth trajectory. But I think probably in the longer term, it'll continue to be a pretty steady clip of growth.
Very good. Councilmember Hornick.
On that note, I was reading something today about the Canadian traffic going right back up. I think they remembered how cold it was. And that we absolutely do welcome them here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's good news. I want to comment just how great it is to fly in and out of PSP.
It is.
Everyone goes out of their way to extend themselves, to be friendly, to make your experience as seamless as possible. And to me, there is no reason to go anywhere else. If we can get in and out of Palm Springs, it's the way to go. And I thank you for all the effort that's been put in to really make it a friendly, accommodating airport. And thank you for representing us on the commission.
Absolutely.
Good. Councilmember Moreno, any questions or comments?
Yes, I concur that it is an excellent place to depart, and then you get an extra feeling of coming home, and you don't have to go very far. I'm wondering if you have any updates on any direct flights that are coming up over the summer, so we can tell folks the good news and not just have them focus on having to endure the lack of escalators.
Jake, any new routes?
Yes,
Good to see you, Jake, by the way.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you here in the city of Palm Desert as well. No new routes coming up over the summer, although we are continuing to pursue air service opportunities with airlines always. Those conversations are ongoing throughout. That said, you don't have to go to Ontario or LAX this summer. We've got 12 nonstop destinations to major hubs across the US. And so the opportunities are there for a one-stop connection to over 300 global cities. You can reach anywhere in the world from Palm Springs International Airport this summer. And so we just ask the public to keep that in mind when you're booking your summer travel, Europe, Asia, Mexico, Hawaii, right from here in Palm Springs.
I always tell folks that you may think it's a little less expensive to fly out of somewhere else, but the time that it takes you, the gas that it's going to take you to fly out of LAX, the parking is going to be more expensive there. So I concur that you can go a lot of places right from here. Thank you again.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody good? Okay. So thank you so much, Commissioner Wiseman. Anything
Thank you.
else?
No, that's all. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Jake. Appreciate it. All right, and we'll skip on over to item 10B, update about the Palm Desert Aquatic Center from Ms. Sean Muir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Sean Muir, the Community Services Manager, and I'm bringing to you today just a quick update on the Palm Desert Aquatic Center. We wanted to take this opportunity to just recognize the City Council's investment in this facility, and it's an essential community asset. So we wanted to show you some of the improvements as we pull up the presentation. Okay, starting off with a recap of our Memorial Day event. So we had a big reopening or welcoming back to the community on Memorial Day after a 6-month renovation closure. And that was a $1 admission event. We had a fantastic community turnout. We had it open for a lap swim first thing in the morning with some breakfast pastries and coffee and treats. Commemorative swim caps were given away during that morning hour, and then moved into to recreational swim, so it opened at 10 o'clock for people to bring their families in and enjoy the pools all together. We had a DJ there. The Palm Desert Library was involved and did a book giveaway and was signing up people for library cards, so that was fantastic. And then we did a t-shirt giveaway as well. And I can tell you when I arrived with my family at 11 o'clock, those t-shirts were long gone. So in looking back, we had 744 admissions that day, and so that was a 30% increase from last year. So it was a very successful event, and we're glad that the facility is reopened. But just showing you how we got to this place. With the pump room improvements was kind of the impetus for these larger renovations that occurred. The filtration systems needed to be replaced, the heaters and 5 pumps, as well as the smart controllers that control the pumps were replaced, and that was kind of the core of this project. Inside, you can see the before and after of the pump room, and the filtration tank that's on the left there is for the lap pool. It looks like it's kind of smaller in the picture, but that thing is about 6.5 feet in diameter, about 10 feet tall. So replacing it with a new filtration system, it's a lot more energy efficient, and it's also smaller and more compact, so that the new one is only about 4 feet in diameter. Saved a lot of space in the pump room. Here are the new heaters going in. We had 5 and replaced them with 4 just because they're that much more efficient, and we're anticipating a 12% reduction in gas usage for heating the pools in the wintertime. This is we call it the pit, and this is where all of the pumps live that pump the water throughout the facility. So all of this plumbing was redone and new pumps installed. These are the smart controllers that control the pumps and help them to operate efficiently. A new generator was installed for backup power. When those smart controllers are operating and controlling the pumps, we want to make sure that we don't have any energy outages or power outages that affect the smart controllers in a negative way and potentially can render them useless after power surges. So that will protect those. And then we took the opportunity to make additional facility improvements while the pool had to be closed for the pump room renovations. The locker room flooring was resurfaced. There was new cabinetry and blinds installed in the multi-purpose room, which is often used for birthday parties and other events. We did some renovations to the concessions area and repainted the lifeguard room. There was also new doors, new pieces to the splash playground area, new concrete, and then resurfacing the entire parking lot. So the whole facility got a nice facelift, and it led us to the beautiful crystal clear blue water that we see today. We've got some rubber ducky floaties out there and some new recreational features for kids and adults alike to enjoy. Looking at the total capital investment for this fiscal year, it was a little over $2.8 million. We had estimated initially that this project could cost upwards of 3.5. So this came in under budget, and we're happy that we were able to complete it at that rate. And then I pulled this slide from the budget presentation directly, so it probably looks familiar. However, you can see our operational costs for this fiscal year are lower because of the closure, and we expect to get back to normal operations this coming fiscal year. We do have 1.75 set aside for capital improvements, but they're really focused on landscaping improvements, some fencing that needs to happen, so they are more maintenance in nature and it won't cause any facility closures. So we're not looking ahead to do any major work like that this fiscal year. And then for the general fund transfer, we're looking at 2.3 million. 3.4 is probably the expenditures that we will see. However, we're anticipating 1.1 in revenue, so that will offset that to the 2.3 in general fund transfer. And so what are our next steps? Well, we're going to have some fun this summer. The pool is back open. We invite everyone to come back and enjoy it. We've got dive-in movies. Hot summer nights are on Tuesdays and Fridays, and they stay open until 10:30 at night, so it's perfect for after the sun goes down if you don't want to be in the sun. We have great attractions and great food going on. We'll also be looking to build back that attendance and look for off-season ways to improve the attendance. So take advantage of opportunities that we're not taking advantage of now and identifying those new programs that we can add. And then other facility upgrades and maintenance for the future. We want to keep our fingers on the pulse of that so we don't have any big expenses that come up. The maintenance is the key so that we can have longevity of this asset. And I will also mention that for 4th of July, there is a $10 admission flat rate for anyone who wants to come down and watch the fireworks from the pool. And they'll have the concessions open and all of the recreational features going. So come on down and enjoy the Aquatic Center, and I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions? Councilmember Moreno.
I didn't even raise my hand, but somehow you knew I had a question.
I just don't
What
want to
was
leave you left out, man.
cost of admission for the 4th of July?
It's $10, whether you're a resident or non-resident, it's a flat rate for that day only. They open at noon, and they'll be open until after the fireworks have been completed.
Thank you
If I
very much.
If I remember, last year you had the concessions open even to the park side. Like, in other words, people were just coming in from the park and able to use the concessions, and that's the plan again this year?
That window will not be open this year. We've added more features in the concession stand to offer more food variety. So unfortunately, that window can't be open, but the Aquatic Center will be open and serving food.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
Just one more quick update. I'll have Assistant City Manager Richard Canoni update on a new program, as well as we're utilizing video more to highlight city programs.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So tonight, our communication team would like to introduce what we're calling Palm Desert Stories, which is a new video series to further expand our digital communication and community outreach efforts. And so our intent is really using storytelling to help provide a better understanding of the programs and services that we're offering every day, as well as strengthening both our transparency and engagement, kind of giving a behind-the-scenes look at what we do at times. And so our goal right now is to release new episodes at least monthly, with the intent of increasing that frequency as time goes. And so with that, I'll let the premiere of our Palm Desert Stories run.
When a Palm Desert pet gets adopted, it helps with overcrowding, the city saves money, and most importantly, the pet gets a better life. Homeward Paws helps make that happen. The Homeward Paws program is a pet adoption incentive program designed to help Palm Desert residents adopt Palm Desert animals through the Riverside County Animal Services at the Coachella Valley Animal Campus. Through the program, Palm Desert residents who adopt a Palm Desert cat or dog may be eligible to receive a $125 gift cards to PetSmart or Petco, wherever you want to go. These gift cards are to help offset the expenses of bringing home a pet and help them feel settled in.
Is there any sound for that portion? I can't hear it.
that was our first one.
All right, any questions from my colleagues? Good.
I couldn't hear any of that second portion, but thanks to ADA requirements, I was able to read the captions. But I couldn't see or got a little blurry. Do we know if those stickers that were on there, is that the official sticker that will be taken to the library, or was that something else?
Yes, that is the official sticker. We had provided those to the shelter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. Good work. We will now move on. That's it for city manager comments, correct?
Correct.
All right, very good. Thank you. We'll now move on to item number 11, mayor and council member reports and requests for action. We will start with Councilmember Nastandi.
No comments to share. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Moreno.
Let me get to my notes here. I'll leave the jazz events for my colleagues. On June 17th, I was part of the government advisory panel for Southern California Edison, and the discussion topic was on the public safety power shutoffs and a new process that's going in as required by the California Public Utilities Commission. And what's being rolled out for 2027 includes more awareness of the exchange that they have on their website, and residential customers are eligible for portable power stations, $200 rebate, and $800 rebate for portable generators. There was a battery incentive. They said their funding for that is on the wait list, and that is the self-generation incentive. I know as we talk about sustainability and how to have people keep the energy that they produce in their homes, to keep some of that in case of emergencies. They are implementing a program called AFN, which is for customers with access and functional needs. And that's a little bit of a step beyond what they've done before. And it's not just having the medical baseline saying, here's a way to keep your medically essentially the devices that are there for life support. It's not just going to be my asthma compressor, your nebulizer. And I love that the discussions are also including individuals with intellectual disabilities. And that could create such a devastating disorientation for some of the customers. And I really appreciated that hadn't been something that was ever brought up before. They highlighted the partnerships that cities can have by letting residents know about projects, programs like 211, and connecting them to food banks. And of course, this is when they can anticipate any major storm event and increase collaborations with the cities. I know that they sent out a survey to all of the city managers and public works directors, and they happen to mention that they know that we're ahead of that with our city. Let's see, if you are interested in getting those, they are through the SCE Marketplace. And I mentioned that they're in apartments or mobile home communities. If you're getting your utilities from that HOA or that central office, you don't have your own SCE account to qualify to purchase them. And they said that is one of the topics that they're going to be bringing up to the next stages. But I think all of this should be rolled out by the middle of next year. Speaking of utilities, right now there is an opportunity or a webinar to help people understand what the decision-making process is for the California Public Utilities Commission. I think a lot of people know my bills are going up, the rates are increasing, but not the process to get involved and be part of those public hearings and not exist in isolation as just letters that some folks know. So I think that one is going on Tuesday, June 30th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I saw the Living Desert is hosting the Your Hometown Zoo Days. Kids and adults in the Coachella Valley, you can save up to $15 per ticket. So family of 4 could be $100. And that is available to Coachella Valley residents. And you just have to show ID. So that's some fun stuff there. Speaking of animals, It is National Adopt a Cat Month. I know some folks from City Hall have adopted their female their feline companions, and I'm happy to see that the program that was highlighted brought up to speed that program for adoptions has launched, and something that has been going on for quite some time. Is presenting the idea that we finally do need to have a budget committee with animal services. We proposed it at the last meeting, and now those conversations are going on as far as the objectives for the committee, what that would look like, and moving it forward as another step of transparency. And I think that will really help reduce some of the frustration when people don't understand all of the limitations. And as I mentioned to the director, it's been, we've gotten through some uncomfortable situations to get to where we are, but it's made the process better and identified problems. And I know that's going to continue. I appreciate what the library is doing as a cooling center. It's a highly functional cooling center. I know that we previously mentioned the Pokemon activities that may happen with Desert Rec. They're not happening with Desert Rec, but the Pokemon groups that reached out, they said thank you to Max and Rachel for helping with the Poke Party on July 8th. And that was, I also saw that right now on Libby, the online app, there are 2,000 books and 1,000 audiobooks available, which includes 53 read-alongs. So here we go for all of the parents with kids trying to learn to read and you don't want them on the iPads. Well, if you can't compromise, here's something beneficial on the iPad. Let's see, 4th of July, thanks to the staff and their family members that are going to be voluntold to be there. And thank you for staff for continuing the efforts to have the sensory space available at the Portola Community Center. And the social media team, you guys have been knocking it out of the park, man. You guys are doing such a great job with having something, excuse me, dynamic, engaging, and fun. And it really highlights the way that Team Palm Desert does things. And I saw that June is National PTSD Awareness Month, and it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about, the fireworks, some other fun June recognition. Let's see, what did I have? My notes, sorry. But oh, we can't forget that June is LGBTQ Pride Month. And we know some of our residents, when we had a special meeting, mentioned that they were present at Stonewall and they know what happened. And I know that thankful again to see the city recognizing that. And amongst the, I don't even know how many there were, it could be, I don't know, 160, 168 of these recognitions. There were some interesting ones that I learned, like the 9th was Donald Duck Day for all of the Disney babies out there. And today is National Beatles Day, the band, not the bug, National Catfish Day, Global Belly Button Day, and Handshake Day. So I hope you guys get a chance to do any of those. And the 23rd was National Wear Pink Day, and I'm surprised it wasn't on October 4th. If you know, you know. And that's it for what I've got.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Harnick.
Well, we all had the opportunity to go to Desert Willow yesterday. We were all, was it yesterday? This week. We were all there to celebrate our fire and our sheriff professionals and thank them for what they do for our communities. And I'll let the mayor did a great job leading that entire celebration, and I'll leave it to you to share some more. I did want to mention that on July 7th, it is Outdoor Worker Day. And that is something we commemorate every year, and it was started here in Palm Desert. And fortunately, Assemblymember Wallace, Greg Wallace, has taken it and really made it his own and make sure that we do something every year. The first year, Burtech was involved, and they made it special. So, you know, think about the people who keep our signals running, our public works who make sure that the parks are in good shape, or if A tree goes down, all our open spaces are still maintained. Those who work at Desert Willow outside, our sheriffs and CAL FIRE, they're all outdoors, and Burtec. So I encourage everyone to say thank you. These are people who are out in 110 or whatever the degrees might be during the summer, and they carry this on to make sure that we have a great place to live. So please make sure to say thank you to them on July 7th, but wouldn't hurt to say thank you every day this summer. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
I want to recognize our economic development team that put on a broker's breakfast last week. It was the first one we've done, and they collaborated with West Valley Cities, and it was a really great opportunity to get in front of the commercial brokers that are oftentimes selling the best places to do business. So getting upstream, getting them educated onto what our city's doing to be business friendly and get those folks coming to Palm Desert and staying ahead of what the market demands are for products in terms of real estate and zoning that we can stay on top of. So thank you for that. Last week, CVAG Homelessness Committee met, and we made a recommendation to the executive committee to give the executive director of CVAG the ability to negotiate non-cash contributions for our participation in the Housing First program, which is good for Palm Desert because we use the PLHA funding, and that will go away. We'll exhaust those soon, so that gives our team flexibility to negotiate with CVAG in ways to preserve our general fund. Lastly, I would like to bring a request for action. We've had business owners come and testify to us about the unfair business practices created by the illegal placements of signs. I've heard from residents as well, so I'd like to ask for support to direct staff to look at our sign ordinance and just research if it's giving them the tools they need to properly enforce sign placement to our expectation, and it also aligns with our Zero Blight challenge.
I support.
Very good. Okay, as Councilmember Moreno mentioned, we did have our first annual jazz event at the McCallum Theater Saturday, June 13th. The city partnered with the McCallum Theater, and it was sort of a three-part day where at 9 a.m. at the library, and again, this is a great, in my opinion, great use of the library, and I was so glad to see this. It was more, a little bit of hands-on. I didn't attend it, but I think it was a little bit more of an interactive thing at the library where people could get to hear jazz and play jazz, I believe. And then at 1 o'clock, we started the performances proper at McCallum Theater. It was an all-afternoon event. A lot of local talent was showcased. And then at the evening program, brought in, I know Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Moreno and I all attended, and the talent there was just incredible. It was worthwhile. It was wonderful, and it's a great way for McCallum to extend their season. Whereas in years past, they'd close at the end of April. Now we're going into midsummer, and it was well attended and a great event. So I look forward. Hopefully that won't be the one and only. Hopefully it'll be an annual event moving forward. As Councilmember Harnick mentioned, the Cove Commission held our annual awards luncheon this week at Desert Willow, where if those of you are not familiar, it's Rancho Mirage, Indian Wells, Palm Desert all make up the Cove Commission. We talk about common issues and did awards program there. And the one thing really struck me, and it's always struck me since my time on council, is just how good our public safety personnel are. And I'll give you one example. I actually was fortunate enough to take a vacation last week, and I flew in and out of LA and had some long-term parking there, what I thought was a safe place. Came back after the trip on a Monday evening, and a car had been broken into out of this underground garage with hundreds of other cars. They picked ours to break into, God knows why. And I filed a report with security there, did the whole rigmarole, insurance, blah, blah, blah. And talking to the security at the parking garage, he said, well, do you want to file a report with the LAPD? And I said, nah, probably a waste of time. He said, yeah, 99% chance they won't show up to do the report. You can do it online. Probably won't amount to much. You contrast that with the stories we heard at the public safety luncheon of deputies just doggedly pursuing these, what in many other cities would be considered like a minor property crime, say identity theft or misuse of somebody's credit card, and they don't stop until the case is closed. And it was just a great reminder. Sometimes you got to get out of the city to remind yourself how good we have it here. It is really remarkable, and I'm just really grateful for both fire and sheriffs for the services they provide in our city. Very, very grateful for that. And on one last note, again, like I said, I was fortunate enough to take a vacation last week, so I don't have a whole lot of business to talk about, but it did give me a chance to catch up on my pleasure reading. I did read our poetic anthology, which I think is the first ever we've ever done. And it's Marigolds Dipped in Marmalade. It's free. It's available at the library. I picked this one up actually here at City Hall, and it was outstanding. And I wasn't really certain how I was going to take to the Poet Laureate program. It's a relatively new program for us. I wasn't sure if it was really something the city ought to be involved in. And even if this is the only thing the Poet Laureate does is conduct these biweekly programs for local residents and non-residents who want to learn more about poetry, bring out their sense of expression and articulation, that's all well worth it. So excellent program, and thanks again to the library and the city for moving forward with that project. So that's all I have, and thank you very much. Next up, we are going to move on to item number 12, non-agenda public comments. This time has been set aside for the public to address the City Council on issues that are not on the agenda for up to 3 minutes. Because the Brown Act does not allow the City Council to act on items not listed on the agenda, council members may briefly respond or refer the matter to staff for report and recommendation at a future meeting. And I guess, City Clerk, if you could have a few remarks, please.
For those on Zoom, if you want to participate in public comment, please click the raise hand button on your computer or smartphone. And if you're joining in by calling on your phone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. And when called upon, press *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay, very good. I'm going to start off with our in-person. We have one blue card here from Sensei Tamara.
Hello, good day. My name is Sensei Tamara Kanedo, and I am CEO of Seithan Joku and owner of Seithan Kai. Weird names. But I am a karate instructor, and I specialize in teaching para-karate, and I teach individuals with disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, blind, and wheelchair. And as of last year, I got appointed para-karate coach for Team USA. I'm super excited. Thank you, Mayor, for attending my tournament this year. It was a very big impact. We had over 160 para competitors, and something that I'm very proud. I am a new Palm Desert resident, and I officially have the largest para-karate team in the country. So as a woman in a male-dominated industry, it is an honor. But the reason for me coming in today is, one, I am very grateful for the opportunity for having presented my first grant to the City of Palm Desert. I am also a nonprofit, and we are looking towards relocating from La Quinta to also moving into the City of Palm Desert. I just got some Inland Regional Center approval for vendorization, and we'll be expanding our services. As of a couple of months ago, I brought in a therapist from Barbara Sinatra Center because a lot of the individuals that I work with are foster kids, sexually abused children, and believe it or not, a lot of my children and adults with disabilities also have been abused. So bringing in a therapist and the mental health compartment has been huge for us. But as of officially today, I have an ER doctor that is joining us for nutrition and personal training. And the reason is, as you may know, there are dietary sensitivities and sensories that individuals with disabilities have, which have led them to diabetes, cardiac issues, kidney and liver failure. Every scenario you can imagine, I am dealing with within my team. So I'm not just teaching para-karate, we're teaching life skills. Respect, focus, diet, exercise, and so much. So God willing, in the next couple of months, we will be officially here in the City of Palm Desert. But I did want to just present today and talk about a little bit of my program. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. And any online comments?
Yes, one speaker, Todd Spitzer.
Very good. Mr. Spitzer.
Mr. Spitzer, your mic is on mute. There you go. Mr. Spitzer, we're not able to hear you.
How about now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Todd Spitzer. I'm a resident of the city of Palm Springs. I reside in the Monterey Country Club. I've had correspondence on an issue I'm going to talk about in a moment with your assistant city manager and your staff member, Ms. Castro, and they've been very attentive, very professional, and super responsible. So I want to thank your staff for that. But I do want to inform you on May 21st of this year, Mayor Taylor, the mayor of Indian Wells, laid down the gauntlet against the city of Palm Desert regarding the expansion of the Palm Springs Airport. Many of you know that the FAA has changed the flight pattern into the approach corridor for landing into Palm Springs Airport. The airport, as you well know, serves about 3 million annual passengers today. And while Mr. Wiseman didn't mention it in his presentation, they plan to expand in the next decade or so to 6 million annual passengers. The city of Indian Wells has hired an outside law firm called DLA Piper, and their chief counsel, or one of their lawyers, a partner at that Washington, D.C. law firm, is the former chief counsel for the FAA. And what Mayor Taylor said on May 21st is that the airport approach corridor and the noise associated with the flight pattern into Palm Springs is certainly not acceptable to the city of Indian Wells. They've hired an outside firm. They are asking the FAA through their counsel to push the flight corridor out of the city of Indian Wells and into the city of Palm Desert. This conversation about airports, I think we all can agree, airport noise can really hurt a community in a drastic way. And what I'm asking the city council to agendize for full discussion is a presentation on the airport master plan and the expansion, the FAA flight patterns, and the changes that the FAA is implementing in terms of the airport expansion. If the flight pattern capacity is going to double at Palm Springs Airport, and Indian Wells is officially on the record lobbying to push the flight pattern north from their city into the city of Palm Desert, I really believe this is a very important discussion that the city should be having publicly. Indian Wells, Mayor Taylor is not only opining publicly that a problem that is in the city of Indian Wells should be pushed into the city of Palm Desert, but he recently took on the city of Coachella, criticizing them for not approving a project in their city. He has no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Spitzer. We have the 3-minute limit, and you've reached that. However, you're welcome to submit comments via email as well if you have more you'd like to add. Thank you. Any more online comments?
No other comments.
Okay, very good. That brings us to item 13, our consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved by one motion. The public may comment on any item on the consent calendar for up to 3 minutes. I have no blue speaker cards here. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Very good. Would any of my colleagues like to pull an item from the consent calendar for separate discussion?
I would like to pull L as in Larry.
Okay. And I would like to pull C as in cat.
I'll make a motion to approve the remainder.
Second.
Councilmember Harney.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Trubie.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, so should we address these in alphabetical order? Okay, so we'll start with item 13C. This is actually just one very specific component of it, page 95, under competitive opportunities, solicitations released, rather. It was the one in the middle, May 18th, construction of the pilot median for landscape master plan. I'd just like a little more detail on that. I heard some rumblings around the community. People I know had talked about the process, and I don't know who from staff would like to talk about it, but to me this is important because it's sort of portends what may be coming down the pike for the entire city, and I don't know, just taking me through the process on this pilot one. I'd love to hear more. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. On the pilot median project, the project was bid out, and the bids came back at nearly 50%, or in some cases above 50% of the engineer's estimate. So what we'll be doing, staff will be going back, looking at the landscape plans that were developed for those pilot medians, and then proposing changes to reduce the overall cost of the pilot medians, and thus the median revitalization throughout the city in the long run.
From what I understand, when you look at these medium projects, sometimes they're sort of assessed in a per square foot, is sort of a common measuring stick used. And that can range from, what, $8 to $10 a square foot?
Yes, I'd have
the
to
low-
get you the exact numbers. I don't have them off the top of my head, but yes, they are assessed by a square footage. And so what we'd be looking to do is to reduce that. What we saw in some of the costs is that some of the electrical components came in higher than what was anticipated, and also the cost of traffic control.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm satisfied with that, and I'm just glad you guys are keeping an eye on how that costs get out of control, so thank you.
Yes.
And next, we have item 13L, which is, sorry, JKL, award construction contract to Bear Electrical Solutions LLC for the traffic signal modifications and hardware upgrades, Phase 3. Take it away, Chris.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have the staff report as part of your agenda packet. If there's any particular questions from Councilmember Moreno, I'd be happy to answer them.
Not a specific question, just an overall thank you for working with a team that is very proactive to be sure that we catch things in time and not have them be more costly in the long run. I loved how diligent you are about the life cycle of the equipment, and just wanted again to say thank you and your team for ensuring that we have reliable and safe streets.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anybody care to make a motion to move those two items?
Move both
Second.
items.
All right.
Councilmember Harnick.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Trubie.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 to pass items 13C and L.
Perfect, thank you. Next up, we have item 14, action calendar. We begin with item 14A, approve the management district plan and engineer's report and order the levy and collection of assessments for the President's Plaza 1 Property and Business Improvement District for fiscal year 26-27. Staff report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Maria Murillo with Public Works. I also have our consultant, Wildan Financial, here. This report is an annual approval for President's Plaza 1 for fiscal year 26-27. The proposed levy funds maintenance and of the shared parking areas and reflects the authorized 3% annual adjustment. And staff recommends approval of the resolutions. And I'm available for any questions if you have any.
All right. Well, before I bring it back to council, I want to open this up for public comment. I have no speaker cards. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Terrific. Okay. Any questions from my colleagues? Okay. Any discussion from my colleagues? All right.
Move approval.
Second.
Councilmember Harnick.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Trubie.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Terrific. Thank you. Okay, on to item 14B, ordinances amending Title 8 and Title 11 of the Palm Desert Municipal Code to update skate park regulations and regulations governing the distribution and posting of handbills in city parks.
Mayor, City Council, you have before you a staff report amending 2 of the ordinances related to parks. The first, updating the skate park ordinance to be consistent with state law and in preparation for the implementation of an open skate park without an attendant present. And the second being the distribution of handbills in city parks and clarifying language to protect the First Amendment. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, before I bring it back to my colleagues for questions and discussion, we're going to open up for public comment. I have no blue cards. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Terrific, okay. Anybody have any questions from the dais?
You selected 25 as the threshold for an organized distribution. Is the number of distributors is when it becomes organized and needing a permit. How'd you come up with that number, and did you evaluate other numbers?
That number was recommended by BB&K, who developed the ordinance updates, and I can't speak directly to that. Perhaps the city attorney can weigh in.
Mayor Pro Tem, I am not sure if we evaluated other numbers specifically for Palm Desert, but it is going with the herd strategy.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question. In regards to the skate park, when fines are issued to minors, who does the bill get sent to?
The bill will be addressed to the parent of the minor or guardian.
And is there a threshold of fines at which point they'll say you're not following our safety guidelines and you've incurred them? I think it's set up to, if there are 3 per year, I think it bumps up, but is there any place in which we'd say your privileges of the skate park are revoked or until you pay X amount, or what's the overall enforcement for safety?
So the structure of that is that it does reset each year. So there is an escalating fine. So if you have a second violation in the same year, then there's an increased fine, and then a third violation. After that, it would be exclusion. However, without an attendant, it is difficult to enforce. And then the following year, that would reset. So the fines and the escalation of those fines reset each year.
So if without, understandably, it's costly to have an attendant there. So how do people notify to get those fines? Is that just if code happens to be passing, or if somebody makes a report? I have no idea what the process is.
Yes, thank you for that question. We will have QR codes posted at the skate park, so at any time for any issue in the parks, we have QR codes where you can report an issue, whether it be with folks not complying with park rules or broken sprinkler, dogs off leash, what have you. So those QR codes will be available for those reports, and then code enforcement and RSO, of course, will be present in the parks as they normally are to enforce the rules.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Anybody care for discussion or direction or anything else?
Well, I was just going to say we did discuss this issue in depth in case the public is wondering why we're basically ready to approve this. So I believe we have fully vetted it, and we're going to give it a chance.
All right, we'll see no further discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Move.
Second.
Councilmember Harnick.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Trubie.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. On to item 15, public hearings. The public may comment on individual public hearing items within the 3-minute time limit. The applicant and appellant will be provided with up to 10 minutes to make their presentations. Following public testimony, the appellant and applicant will be given an opportunity to offer rebuttal comments for up to 3 additional minutes. And we're going to start with item 15A, introduce an ordinance amending Title 25 of the Palm Desert Municipal Code to reestablish golf cart and neighborhood electric vehicle sales as a distinct land use classification. And we'll have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Sihi Fernandez, Senior Planner with Development Services, here to present on this item. So this is for our golf cart sales and neighborhood electrical vehicle sales. This is a reintroduction. So this is a city-initiated zoning ordinance amendment. This impacts our commercial, industrial, and downtown districts. This is in order to reestablish a use that was previously established. So just a little bit of background. This was previously approved back in 2023, which created development standards for this type of use and provided provisions as far as how this use was going to be regulated. Inadvertently, it was removed in 2024. It was later identified by staff that there was an inconsistency within the code. So now that we're bringing it back, we're looking at introducing golf cart sales as an indoor use through a staff level decision in our planned commercial areas and in our service industrial areas. We're also looking at bringing back the outdoor, triggering a conditional use within our service industrial zone. So as part of this, staff identified some items that were, they could be seen as barriers as far as not allowing this use within certain zones or within certain criteria, since the development standards that were originally introduced provided some challenges and some barriers. So in order to be more business friendly, we're also proposing removing some of the requirements. And these photos are just some examples of some businesses that are no longer there and that could potentially utilize this type of use. The only thing is, if the code is the way that it's currently written, it would be prohibitive and costly in order to be able to establish the use at these locations. Primarily, the two provisions that we're removing is that it needs to be on a primary frontage, also to the requirement for glazing. So it requires a significant amount of glazing, which are good planning principles, but is prohibitive to establishing a business. Also, too, we're looking at the parking standard. I know as far as some of the conversations that staff has had with applicants.
Councilmember.
I'm sorry to interrupt. When you talk about glazing, can you be more specific, please?
Sure.
You're the pro. I'm just trying to keep up with you.
So as of right now, one of the requirements is that streets facing facades shall have transparent glazing, so glass. For the display areas, the transparent windows or doors shall be provided for at least 75% of the building wall area located between 2.5 feet and 8 feet. So as an example, Big Five, no longer there. In order for them to occupy this space, they would have to add a significant amount of glass, which obviously would enhance the building, but at the same time could be cost prohibitive. And they would need to change the orientation of the entire building. So it would be a pretty significant lift in order to be able to establish the use there. Similar to Saks Fifth Avenue, they do have glazing along the frontage. It's just, it still doesn't meet that standard and requirement as the way that the code is written. So then, similar to Big Five, they would have to make a significant amount of modifications to the building in order to be able to establish the use. No problem. Also, too, we were looking at parking. I know typically for this type of use, we've been seeing a lot of demand in our service industrial areas. Currently, the way that the parking standard stands, it requires a 3 per 1,000 parking count, which it can be challenging within our service industrial areas where parking is established at typically around 2 per 1,000. So what we're looking at doing is establishing an individual parking standard for this use to be able to allow for these uses. And as part of that, we still review it through the administrative use permit, which is a staff level decision, so we can still evaluate parking on a case-by-case basis. As far as public notification, this went out to the Desert Sun, 20 days as required by state law. We haven't received any opposition to the zoning ordinance amendment. I know we have had some discussions with some business owners who are interested in potentially moving to the city of Palm Desert, and as far as what we've heard so far is that they are in support of the change. Also, too, this went to Planning Commission, and they also recommended unanimous approval. So staff's recommendation is that City Council approve an ordinance establishing and amending the applicable municipal code sections and reestablishing golf cart and NEV sales, and determine that the action is not subject to CEQA or alternatively is exempt pursuant to state guidelines. That concludes staff's presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. At this time, I will open the public hearing. I don't have any blue speaker cards. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Okay, then I will close the public hearing and open up for questions from my colleagues. Any questions? All right, any discussion?
Barry, I do have a question. I needed to click and make notes. For the image of Big Five and saying that it would require more windows and a lot of change, is there a guideline of how much of that glazing has to be put in place? Is that part of objective standards, or what's the determination as far as how much changes would need to happen at a building we're encouraging someone to occupy?
So in order for a use to, with our current standards to establish at the Big Five location, they would have to change the orientation of the building facing Highway 111. As far as the glazing, it's that 75% requirement from that 2.5 feet to the 8 feet. So, and you can't have more than 20 feet of expanse area that is devoid of glazing. So it would be a pretty significant lift in order to be able to establish the use there.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
I have questions. So I have more questions.
Yeah.
So on the heels of what Councilmember Moreno just said, so we're suggesting, help me out here, because I'm struggling.
Sure.
So you're suggesting we won't ask them to have that glazing?
The way that the code is being proposed is that it wouldn't be a requirement. In the event that the business owner wanted to come in and make modifications to the building, that would go through our design review process. It's just as far as it being a strict requirement that they have to provide that amount of glazing, that's what we're proposing.
Okay, and so often the amount of glazing has to do with public safety. And have we talked to, any of our business teams, the sheriff's business teams and things like that? Because so often it's what can they see in there?
Okay, yeah, not to my knowledge.
Okay. I'm hesitant with this because we're saying now we had this standard in place. Yeah, it would be a significant lift. There's no question. And I get that. But is it an important lift for the integrity of the shopping center and the character of what we're trying to convey and safety? So those are my questions, and I know that that's no easy answer, but it's my hesitancy and my question.
Well, sure. So what we're being asked to do with this action item is that this amendment is to establish a tailored parking standard for golf cart and NEV sales. And also staff is asking us to remove references and requirements that these uses be oriented in fronting major public streets and removing the requirement that street-facing facades have transparent glazing. And it went to the Planning Commission, and they approved staff's recommendation unanimously. And so we're really being asked to just clarify this ordinance as well. It's more of a technical, clerical discussion. So I'm ready to approve staff's recommendation.
Okay, more questions from Councilmember Harnick?
I'm trying to understand the great advantage of taking away the requirements we've had in past. Have there been requests for it?
So typically, the way that when we receive inquiries, we send them the section of the code and identify what the requirements would be in order for them to establish the use. And typically, for this type of use, when we send them the requirements, then they typically don't come back.
I see. I can't help but think that we need to run this by our public safety. I mean, there's part of the reason we have the glass that's exposed to the street is for safety reasons. You know, when it's concealed from the street, all sorts of shenanigans can happen. So I'm just hesitant about that. I think there was a good reason for it, and I don't know, have we looked at that? Should we look at that? And these are authentic questions.
And if I may interject, we can certainly continue the item. We can get some clearance, and then we can come back with it if it's the wish of the council. And that way we can be clear on any of the requirements from sheriff.
Okay, is there any sense of urgency on this particular item at this time?
For this, it would just be to clarify and provide
So
guidance.
there's no one who's saying right now, but I want that building if I didn't have to comply with your standards.
We have received interest, but nothing, no type of application has come in.
Thank you.
Could I follow up on that?
Oh, sure.
I thought we had a golf cart operator whose lease is up, wanting to relocate, and time was of the essence.
So I know we have received inquiries, but as far as an application, we haven't received an application. So any type of formal application hasn't come in.
So this item is before you because there was a request for action to review our ordinance a few months ago. And so staff has gone through the process to clarify and understand the items that were inadvertently removed before. And so this is why it's before you today.
Could the question be answered that Councilmember Harnick has about safety right now?
I'll defer to Rosie.
If I can add one more additional context, since I was here during the 2023 original ordinance and why that requirement came about the glass window, when staff was developing that original ordinance and standard, it was more about the visibility into the store for marketing purposes per se, and trying to orient these businesses, because at the time it was mostly off of frontages. And it was, as we looked at it, it was more restrictive in nature in what it was doing. We didn't look at it, we didn't get comments or look at it from the safety angle. It was really from, the visibility angle, because we were saying we aren't gonna allow golf cart sales in some of these planned commercial areas to be outdoors. It's only gonna be indoor ones. And so the way to maybe still create a visible nature is to add more window, more glazing. Now, as we looked at it in practicality, I see he mentioned a lot of applicants weren't able to do that. Additionally, a lot of our, when buildings are originally built or any revisions go through our design review process, where our ARC is huge on glazing for many different reasons, and trying to see the visibility from it. So it's kind of a long way of saying that the original intent of that requirement was more about the visibility from a little more of a marketing purposes, I guess, to see the golf carts. And because a lot of these businesses, we thought at the time, would want a lot more of that. And then as we got more feedback, it became prohibitive to repurpose some of these buildings.
Okay. and I know you're waiting, I just have an additional comment. I know we're looking at it marketing, but doesn't mean we shouldn't have also been looking at it from a safety aspect. And if we can continue it to get a full and robust feedback on this policy, I think it's important. And if one person is moving, and that's important, but should not drive the policy that comes up. It should be well thought out that it serves the entire community well. And I think I believe it's worth just, let's look at it completely from every angle. Let's do a 360 on this and make sure we're doing the right thing. Maybe the Planning Commission didn't think about that. And that's why it comes to us.
Well, my only other comment is that we've had this issue for a few months already, and it would have been wonderful to have had this looked into by now, but.
It most certainly would have, but we haven't. We've had it for a few months, so let's continue it and let's do it right. Our community deserves that.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Staff, for instance, the Big Five building is a retail use. Any other retailer moves in, they would not have to change the glazing, correct?
That is correct. This was a specific development standard for this particular type of use. So any other operator, retail, they wouldn't be subject to these standards.
And so the discussion we're having is essentially treating golf cart sales as a normal retail use.
So it's not just general retail, because it wouldn't require an administrative use permit, which is our staff level decision. So it's a little bit more distinct, so that way we're able to come up with conditions of approval, so that way we can try to regulate and prevent any potential issues that we may see with the proposed use.
Cannabis, gun sales, neither one of them have to comply with glazing for safety reasons?
No.
Councilwoman Harnick, is there anything that is particular to the golf cart sales that triggers your concern for safety above some other uses that we don't require that?
It's not only the golf cart, it is in general. We've asked for glazing, we've asked for certain things, and now we're saying, but maybe not. And I think we need to look at it. I would appreciate a more comprehensive review of this policy before we bite once you know what it takes to reverse a policy.
Staff, what other retail or similar uses to golf carts require the glazing to the same standard as the golf carts?
So the golf cart standard is unique. It stands on its own.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, may I?
Absolutely. Councilmember Moreno.
I agree with Councilmember Harnick that we need to take our time and do it right, and that there's a very big difference in looking at this from the marketing perspective, from the public safety elements, and we do want to accommodate new business, but I think that we need to do this carefully. And if we're changing an entire segment to treat one category as very in a whole different way, I don't think that we are doing our due diligence to make sure that we make the best decisions. If we're making this change for one, and I'm thinking if this were to create any safety issues that are even unintended, not just theft. For example, if my understanding is there would need to be more windows facing the street. Did I understand that correctly? And if that's the case, doesn't that mean that there's potential for somebody to end up running through their window? I mean, if we're looking at all of the businesses that are there on 111, where you've got the Olive Garden and Red Lobster and the cosmetology school, there's no windows there. And where it may be something people want windows, I think we're looking at it as the additional public safety element, not just from theft. But I do concur that there's nothing that's holding us to make that decision today. Good data equals good decision making, and I would support tabling this, or if I can make the motion to table this for a later date with better information.
All right, Councilmember Harnick.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some more questions.
By the way, we have a motion, just if anybody wants to second it, just so we know, but of course, after questions.
So help me out here. Are we saying now we can have electric vehicle and golf car sales? Are we lifting it so we can have them? And I apologize, I'm looking through here and I'm a little lost. Anywhere in the city? Are we lifting that so that, I mean, I got thrown off by the off-Fifth photo. Are we saying we would have them there?
So,
Or is that just an example of glazing?
No, so as far as the way that the code is established right now, it is a provision within our downtown district. So in the Saks Fifth Avenue example, not saying that we have anyone that's interested in that location, but as an example, that's not facing the primary frontage. The primary frontage is 111 versus San Pablo. The building faces San Pablo, so it wouldn't meet that provision. Also, too, as far as the glazing, it does have a good amount of glazing in front of it on the left side, but on the right side, it doesn't meet that provision. So it also wouldn't meet that standard. So if someone was interested in that location currently, it would be an administrative staff level decision, but we wouldn't be able to approve.
So they could, though, if they went to you, and that location would be acceptable for golf car sales?
With the correct use permit, yes. As it stands today, the answer would be no.
Okay.
Any other questions, or did anybody care to second Councilmember Moreno's motion to table with further research into the safety provisions or the glazing requirements?
If I would add, well, I'm not going to add a friendly amendment. What I am going to do is offer another, I am satisfied. And I would offer another motion that we move as presented.
I will second that motion. Move as presented.
Okay, so for the record, the motion from Councilmember Moreno dies for lack of second. And on the motion to move forward as staff presented, Councilmember Harnick.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Nay.
Councilmember Nestandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Truby.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
May I have one quick second? Thank you very much for answering all my questions and helping me.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Appreciate that. Okay, on to item 15B, resolutions related to the adoption of the fiscal year 2026-27 financial plan and capital improvement program. Looking for a staff report.
Mayor, can we take a quick break since I know the budget usually takes a little bit more time? Would that be okay?
I am okay with that. Joe is ready to stand up and stretch it out. C might be actually nice and quick. Okay, let's take a break. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll say 10 minutes, if that's okay. Come back
That's
5:35.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. 10-minute break. All ready to resume business. And actually, if everybody could indulge me here, I'm going to flip B and C. I know B, we anticipate taking quite a bit of time, the budget, and C, of course, generally is a little bit quicker, so we're going to go on to item 15C. Approval of fiscal year 2026-2027 solid waste, recycling, and organic service rates. Authorization of annual rate adjustments through July 1st, 2030, and approval of residential solid waste service charges on the Riverside County property tax bill. Looks like we have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Luis Moctezuma, Management Analyst with the Economic Development Department. The item before you this evening contains two related actions regarding the city's solid waste recycling and organics collection services provided by Bertec Waste and Recycling Services. First, staff is requesting approval of the updated solid waste recycling and organic service rates for fiscal year 26-27. The proposed adjustments reflect an increase of 4.81% for residential customers and 4.76% for commercial customers. These adjustments are necessary to support continued collection, recycling, organics diversion, disposal services, and state mandate SB 1383 compliance requirement under the city's franchise agreement. Staff is also requesting authorization for annual rate adjustments through July 1st, 2030. Future adjustments would be based on changes in the garbage and trash collection index, capped at 5% annually, along with applicable disposable fees adjustments as provided in the franchise agreement. Second, staff is requesting approval of the annual resolution authorizing eligible residential solid waste service charges to be collected through the Riverside County property tax roll for fiscal year 26-27. The city has utilized the tax roll process since 2015, and it remains an efficient and cost-effective method for collecting residential service charges. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have Frank Orlet, Vice President with Bertec Waste and Recycling Services, available should you have any questions for him.
Very good. So at this time, I will open the public hearing. I have no blue comment cards. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Then I will close the public hearing and ask my colleagues if we have any questions for staff or a representative from Bertec. All good? All right, then I guess I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I need to conduct the protest hearing.
I beg your pardon. I'm
no
sorry.
problem. The city has received 24 protest letters, which does not constitute a majority protest, and the city council may proceed with consideration of the rate adjustment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. Open it up for my colleagues. Comments, questions first of staff, if there are any. No? No questions? Any comments from my colleagues? Thank you.
I do have a comment. I realize there's an increase, and I don't know where in our lives there isn't an increase. And this is very reasonable, and especially considering the service that Bertec gives us all. We're still the lowest in the valley. We're always lower than everyone else. And that's partly because of what Palm Desert does, and it's a whole lot because of what Bertec does. Their service is exemplary, and as we all know, when we have large pieces of furniture, all we have to do is call them, and they tell us what day they're picking them up, and they pick it up. And we don't have to sort out everything. We have different bins for each item, and the service is worth it. It is one of those great deals we get, and I support this without question.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Was that a motion?
Actually, I have one comment. I will say I use Bertec for commercial and residential, and in both cases, they're outstanding, terrific. I second Mayor Harnick's comment. In fact, I know the driver, Buddy, that it takes something as simple as trash service and makes it a customer service experience that's incredible. So I will definitely make a motion to approve.
If I may.
Oh, beg your pardon, Councilmember Moreno. I'm sorry.
No worries. I concur. I concur that everything is the costs are increasing, our demands of the planet are increasing, our demand of the landfill, as much as we're trying to work on the 1383 landfill reduction, we are generating more waste. And it does take a responsive partner that is that creates that community trust and that community impact. And for example, I know that my nieces and nephew, their favorite day of the week, my niece and nephew's favorite day of the week is the day that BERTEC rolls through and they wait outside and they wait for the honk. And that's what makes their week. They're littles. They're little people out there, and they appreciate that when anybody else could just drive by and keep doing their business. So I appreciate knowing that on a personal level, they're not just providing a service that they're being paid for, they do it with a smile and engage the community. So I concur that we're receiving great services.
I'll move the item.
I will second.
Councilmember Harney.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Truppi.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Terrific, thank you. Okay, on to item 15B, resolutions related to the adoption of the fiscal year 2026-2027 financial plan with capital improvement program. Staff report.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Veronica Chavez, your Director of Finance, and I'm here with Sky Wolkowitz, your Budget Analyst. As you recall, this year, our theme was about balance. And that's not that we don't balance in other years, but it is that this year, it took a little more effort. And much of that was at the hands of Ms. Wolkowitz, who played a huge part in taking on some of the heavy lifting this year. And so she will be presenting the budget for you today. But what I did want to share with you was the efforts we made in community engagement. Each year with budget, we like to improve it just a little bit more than we did the prior year. And so while we always meet our community engagement requirements, this year we kicked it up a step and we used the Civic Academy as an opportunity to do a budget challenge. And what we did was we gave them a budget and had limited resources and asked them to take the different budget categories and fund them according to the limited resources they had and make, very difficult decisions with that. It was very engaging. They enjoyed themselves. They had a difficult time. They recognized the difficulty in making decisions and cuts and the trade-offs that comes with that. And so it was a really great exercise, and we enjoyed it. We intend to do it again and create budget-savvy residents. And I just want to thank my favorite critique, Anthony, for helping me up the ante on it, because I was going to make it really easy, and he said, no, we can challenge them a little bit more. And so it came out to be a really great exercise. And so with that, I will hand it over to Sky.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the City Council. Sky Wolkowitz, Budget Analyst in the Finance Department. Before we get into numbers, I want to start with the priorities that guided the budget. Each year, Council establishes a set of goals, and those goals serve as the policy framework for the budget. This year's goals include mall redevelopment and family-friendly activation, citywide economic activation and events, North Palm Desert and University area development, community resilience and climate strategy, clean, safe, and attractive city standards, and community engagement and city identity. With those goals in mind, staff developed the fiscal year 26-27 financial plan to align available resources with those priorities. The proposed budget and 10-year CIP were reviewed in detail at the May 14th study session. This budget continues the city's commitment to public safety, economic development, infrastructure, and long-term financial stability. Now I'll provide a high-level overview of the general fund, which supports the city's core operations and services. The general fund budget is balanced with estimated revenue of about $112.6 million and projected expenditures of about $112.6 million. The budget projects a modest surplus of $69,000 with no use of reserves for operations. Next, we're going to look at general fund revenue and what's coming in. where the revenue is coming from and what is driving the change from prior year. General fund revenue is estimated to increase by about 3% over prior year. The increase is mainly driven by modest growth in Measure G sales tax and transit occupancy tax. The city continues to rely on a diverse mix of revenue sources, including sales tax, district tax, TOT, also known as transit occupancy tax, short-term rentals, property tax, franchise fees, permits, and other revenues. Now that we covered projected revenues, the next slide shows how those dollars are allocated across city services. General fund expenditures are also increasing by about 3%. Primary cost drivers include public safety, personnel services, and the implementation of Measure G funded priorities. The budget maintains current service levels while supporting growth-related demands and council directive initiatives. A major part of this budget is Measure G, so the next slide highlights how those funds are being implemented. Fiscal year 26-27 is the third year of Measure G sales tax revenue. Funds are allocated according to the adopted 5-year spending plan. Measure G supports public safety, facility improvements, North Palm Desert infrastructure, parks, and public works staffing. The allocation reflects both immediate service needs and long-term infrastructure priorities. Measure G is only one component, one important funding source for capital needs. The next slide broadens the view to the full capital improvement plan. The proposed fiscal year 26-27 CIP totals $76.4 million. Key projects include fire station improvements, the Palm Desert Library construction, Dave Irwin Park, public facility upgrades, and infrastructure that supports city council priorities. Public safety is one of the largest investment areas, so the next slide breaks down those costs. Total public safety costs are $60.61 million. The general fund share is $36.65 million, which represents about 30% of the general fund budget. The budget supports police services, community safety, county EMS, fire service operations, and related capital and equipment needs. In addition to general fund, the city manages several restricted or special purpose funds, which are summarized next. Other funds are generally restricted or set aside for specific purposes. The total budget across these funds is $151.9 million. Using restricted funds appropriately helps protect the general fund and ensures compliance with funding requirements. The next slide addresses the state appropriations limit, which is a legal requirement calculation. The appropriations limit is the state-imposed spending cap. For 26-27, the calculated limit is $201.76 million. Budgeted appropriations are at $112.6, which is well within the legal limit. In addition to the budget resolutions, Council is also being asked to consider the staffing resolution and out-of-state travel memo. The staffing resolution identifies the fiscal year 26-27 salary schedule, classification groups, and all allocated positions. The out-of-state travel memo included in your packets lists intended travel for fiscal year that must be approved by Council in a public meeting. Taken together, these components support the overall fiscal year 26-27 budget summary. Overall, the budget is balanced, includes a small projected surplus, does not use reserves for operations, and aligns with Council 2026 goals. The estimated year-end fund balance is about $120 million, with a required reserve of about $70.1 million. Measure G is fully allocated per plan and will continue to be reviewed quarterly by the Finance Committee. With that summary in mind, staff is bringing forward the following recommendations for Council's consideration. Staff recommends opening the public hearing and approving the resolutions presented to you today, as well as the out-of-state travel memo. Staff will return at a later date with a study session item on potential financing options for major projects while maintaining operations and managing reserve impacts. And that concludes the budget presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I will now open the public hearing. I see no blue speaker cards. Are there any online comments?
No online comments.
Very good, thank you. I will now close the public hearing in that case and turn it over to my colleagues if they have any questions of staff. Councilmember Moreno? Wow.
I appreciate that, I do have questions. My first question is, presenting at the Civic Academy, is that considered an official outreach session? I'm wondering in terms of, I thought that our public information sessions are to be open to the public. I'm wondering if having this presented through the Civic Academy would make people feel like they couldn't participate. Were they notified? I'm just wanting to be sure how to interpret using the Civic Academy.
So as far as the public outreach, that is what we use the study session for, and typically that's how we address that requirement. The Civic Academy was an opportunity to use that format for the first time, and we can certainly send that out further in future years, but we wanted to test it out and see how effective it could be.
In terms of how many public sessions are we required to have?
We're just required to have public outreach. So there's not a number designated, and so we do use the study session. We use the advertisement in the notice in the paper that covers the requirement.
And could anybody just learn that that's what was going on with the Civic Academy that day? Could they pop in and participate, or are events for the Civic Academy limited to participants in the Civic Academy?
I am not as familiar with how the Civic Academy program works. This was, what we typically do is we give them a Budget 101 session, and so we added this as a component to the Budget 101.
Got it. I do have a few more questions, but I'll let my colleagues get their questions while I merge questions.
And actually, I'm going to piggyback on Councilmember Moreno. The exercise you did at the Civic Academy was like theoretical. It wasn't real numbers that we actually have in our budget.
Not at all. They were points.
Oh.
So we gave them 100 points, and we, assigned each category a number of points. It really was an exercise. It wasn't real money or anything like that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Any other questions from my colleagues? Mayor Pro Tem.
When we had the study session, we were presented with similar top-line numbers. And since then, we gave direction to support potentially the Paralympic surf event, Palm Springs Life. Yet the top-line numbers didn't change. Do you guys find money for those in there? Maybe I missed it. Are those in this budget?
No, they are being currently funded by fiscal year 25-26 funds.
So this fiscal year?
Yes, sir.
Even though there are future events for increases. So the surf event would be funded out of this fiscal year that we're currently in?
The Paralympic, the way it was brought was to use funds that were available from 25-26 budget, and what we will do is carry them over to 26-27. The money for, what was the other, the food and wine?
Yeah.
That was included in the budget.
Kind of a question. In the last item, I could find out what every one of my neighbors' trash roll looks like. Last year, we had a lot more, we had a more robust budget to review, I believe. Am I missing something? Is this year different in the presentation?
This is the typical packet we bring for the final approval. The robust packet you get is during the budget study session, and so all of the detailed numbers were in that packet.
Any other questions from my colleagues? All right, open up for discussion.
Sorry, I do have
you mentioned that to begin with. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure. I want to follow up on what Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, that in the past, we do get a comprehensive document where we can look at what we're looking at. And for example, this is the one for last year. I could not find anything similar to this. I spent, I don't know how much time last night in looking for a comprehensive document where I could look year over year. I'm a note taker. I like physical media to consume when I'm looking for this, and I couldn't find it. And when I asked our city clerk, he sent me the link, but it's frustrating to think how much work it took to find it. In previous years, it was excellent that it could be found with one single click, and this time it took a lot more. And I understand that when we update our web pages, things move, things change. When you're on the finance page, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it says the link for the city budget. It takes us to page not found. And again, it's possible to get circular links and things get moved, but this was very frustrating. And I had residents that reached out and said, I'm trying to find out, for example, on public safety, and they sent me the screenshot that it didn't work on their mobile phone. And we know that it's important to get things optimized for mobile, even to be able to download a PDF or print from their phone onto their device. But I couldn't even print the document here in doing my typical Control P, because that's the way that I print. It would only let me print one page at a time and a few of the categories, and not even 1/4 of the categories that were there. And as we strive for transparency, it was frustrating that once Anthony gave me the link, it's required 16 steps. 16 steps to get to that. And as we've mentioned, when we are asking someone to do more than 3, 4, 5 clicks, they're going to give up. And it was very inconvenient to have to look for the clerk website, then a drop-down menu for online records, click the public reports portal, find the new page for public records, click browse, find city clerk, click the budget, scroll to find the year. But then we can't link as before. Before, we could go to the table of contents, we could click the item, and it would take you to that page. And here you had to scroll. For example, I was asked to look at animal services. It lists page 77, but I still had to keep scrolling till page 90 out of 146 to get to that area. The challenges of trying to get what was presented in May, even in May, it's a series of attachments. The May 14th study session was 14 separate attachments, when in previous years, we've had everything in one place. And that's very unfortunate to ask our residents, I'm sorry you had such a hard time finding it. But when even we as council members are looking to be able to make the best decisions, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, and it's hard to bring this up when I always tell folks we've got such great staff. Our staff is very diligent, but this is difficult to find. It's not mobile friendly. It's certainly not ADA compliant. And when we tell people that transparency is one of those benchmarks of what we ask for, this doesn't feel that way. This doesn't feel that way at all. And we need to do better to provide consistency in the services. I'm just wondering what led to going from a system that made things very easy to understand with everything in one clear place to find it, to now a bunch of attachments and summaries that don't allow us to extrapolate to truly be able to ask the questions.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a question for Veronica or somebody from IT.
I can speak to a portion of it. I did appreciate Councilmember Moreno bringing that to my attention today. As far as the cleanup and what, how that was done, I have no, understanding of that piece, because I know it's ADA related. Up until her pointing that out, I did not know that all of our budgets had been scrubbed. And so staff has been directed to add the last 3 years back up there so that they are easily accessed. But I do understand that it's part of the ADA requirements with regards to those.
Yeah, just quickly, and not to make excuses, we can certainly do better, but the prior budgets were removed from the website when the city was redoing the website to comply with WCAG requirements, which is website content accessibility guidelines, which were established by the federal government. And that requires PDFs to be fully accessible for screen readers. And because these budget documents are so large, they were removed from the website in order to comply and moved into the city's permanent repository, which is the Laserfish web portal. And so through that web portal, yes, if you are hitting print on a page by page, it does that. But if you download the document, then it will come out as a PDF and you can print it in full. But we acknowledge the fact that we can always do better, and we will.
Can I request that we have both? Can I request what we are used to have that ability to click and find and direct folks? Because again, that makes it easier for us to get that, for our residents to access, and have the separate link for the ADA compliant version. So anybody that needs to access it in that direction is able to. I think that we can continue to provide the level of service and quality that we have done in the past, and just have them side by side. So that was one of the big frustration issues that I had. And in terms of specific questions, one of the residents brought it to my attention that we're showing a 1.56 million contingency fund, whereas 25-26 the allocation was 0, and 24-25 it was 85,000. Is there any context of what that is? And I wish I could tell you it's on page X so we could all be on the same page, but I don't know where I found that before.
It's just the account for that. You can answer it.
So the 1.5, if you're speaking on the public safety budget, the police budget, is that correct? So that was established because when we originally got the request from the police department, from RSO, we noticed that they weren't in line with actuals, but we still wanted to leave that capability. So if they did come in a little bit higher, we have the flexibility to address those needs. So that was established just as a safety point to make sure we can address that.
So the 85K from 24-25, were those the actuals?
Those were actual contingency funds.
Okay.
And then this year there was no request. So, but we did establish that we should have some sort of contingency. So that was the reason for that 1.5.
Okay. My question that I'm still trying to figure out is how, if we have an 85,000 contingency that wasn't used, and of course, we're glad that there wasn't a need for it, that nothing happened in the city that required that. But if our public service, if our public safety partners didn't request that, how did 1.56 become the figure to go from 85,000 to 1.56 million?
So the original request from RSO was, I don't want to say this wrong, I believe it was 32.4 million. And when we started to evaluate all of the actuals that they were spending over the course of 5 years, we brought that number down to a more realistic, like an average number, to the 30 million. But city manager did decide that we should have a contingency in place to ensure if those costs did hit the request that they made, we were able to have the funds available for them.
And just to add on that, we do not want to bring it to the actual, given our priority of public safety, but that contingency allows us to use it across the entire police budget as either demands change or police department requests more or costs come in higher.
And just to add to that, in prior years, we budgeted police differently, completely differently. Since then, staff has requested that items are itemized more versus everything being dropped into one budget so that they can really keep track of the cost as they come through.
So if we have any additional insight on that, if that would be helpful. Like I said, right now, I was approached on animal services and public safety, and that's where I honed in on getting more info. Other than that, that's the extent of my questions.
Very good. Any other colleagues have questions? Okay, I'm going to just clarify. We have the technical issues acknowledged. Staff is on it. We're going to address it for next year. Perfect. Okay. Very good. Any other comments from my colleagues? All right. Well, then I will entertain a motion.
I will thank staff for their hard efforts and approve the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Harnick.
Yes.
Councilmember Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
Yes.
Mayor Trubie.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. On to item 16, which is no further business. We are hereby officially adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Have a happy, safe 4th of July. Hydrate.